Hey everyone, welcome to Geek Rant. It's Greg here again on the channel with Toby, and today we're going to be talking about episode 9 of the House of the Dragon. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be talking about episode 9 of the House of the Dragon. This episode was called The Green Council and was quite a sort of political maneuvering episode, I feel. I think we were saying just before we come on air that it was quite hard to follow up the last episode. Was quite a momentous and so well acted.
Yeah,
such a good drama.
And we've lost the series as well.
Yeah. And not that this wasn't a good episode. This was a good episode.
It was a good episode, yeah.
Yeah. It maybe just wasn't quite as good as the last one. But
I don't think many episodes we see in any series will be as good as that last episode. I think it was that good.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, so obviously at the end of episode 8, we saw the king passing away, and having talked to Alicent, he thought he was talking to Rhaenyra and was telling her to go take the throne as per the prophecy. He thought that the prophecy related to her.
Yeah.
And that when he says the name Aegon, he's actually talking about Aegon the Conqueror, the first king.
Absolutely.
And so, it's got misunderstood, a mistranslation by Alicent, who goes off and tells Otto, her father, that what has been said, that she believes that Viserys had said Aegon needs to take the throne.
Yeah.
This immediately sets up a council meeting, and you've got the people there, and I think this is why called the Green Council, because the High Towers seem to be in control now. Otto and Alicent.
Yeah. So I mean, we're left with a funny position, aren't we? So basically, they've got to tell them that it's basically the king has said that Alicent's Aegon should be the king.
Yes.
So how are they going to do this in this space? Who's going to believe that the last minute the king has changed his mind? To his other son, to the son, rather than his daughter's son, his grandson.
Yes.
So
and I mean, one of the council, Lord Beesbury, one of the older guy who I think he was to do with the finances, wasn't he, in one of the previous
something like that
about the finances. And he sort of stands up and says, this is outrageous.
As he realizes what's going on, because some of the other ones that are close to Alicent and Otto, they're suddenly falling in line, including the Lannister. Yeah, Tyland Lannister.
Yeah,
and the only one that really stands up.
Yeah, they've been plotting. They plot in their mind that they would take over. They would have to get rid of Rhaenyra and Daemon, and that would be something they'd have to do. Talking about replacing some of the guards who are loyal to Daemon and things like this. And that's what that sort of sets off Lord Beesbury.
He stands up, rightly so, protests, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And he showed to be an honourable person, who promptly gets told to sit back down, and old Kristen shoves his head down, doesn't he, and smashes it against this little ball thing that they use to sort of show that they're part of the
show that
smashes his head on there and kills him. So
caves his face in, doesn't he, basically? And you get an immediate sense, that there's that sort of broke the tension a bit, didn't it? It kind of like and then we see there's only one other person in the room who's really against this.
That's
Sir Harold Westerling, the king,
the Lord Commander.
And he's listening, and he's you could see on his face, I thought he acted it really well. He wasn't sure where to look or what to do as he was listening to their planning, what they were going to do. They're basically going to kill Rhaenyra.
Well, the other person was Alicent, wasn't it? She hadn't been part of this plan. She was shocked. She didn't want she didn't want Rhaenyra to be killed. That was something that she was very sort of firm about. That was her husband's daughter.
We see some of this, don't we, in her, but she doesn't really put up too much resistance to this plan, does she?
Well, she does later on.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, she doesn't.
Yes, no, that's true. That's true.
She's sitting there watching them scheme, and she doesn't say, "Take him away for scheming against me," but she's kind of just sitting there contemplating.
Yes, yeah. They then take steps, don't they, to try and keep it quiet. So all the staff who might have known, have put into their jails. They've got, now I can never pronounce her name right. Rhaenys.
Yeah, Rhaenys.
Yeah. She's there as a guest.
Is it Rhaenys?
Yeah.
Rhaenys.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. She's there as a guest, but they lock her in, don't they, and lock her up. So which she's obviously not happy about. And then they go and try and find Aegon. And
this is
weirdly enough,
weird, this bit.
He's not there. Yeah, and that's the one thing I thought about this that was a bit weird in this episode was that he wasn't there suddenly. He was out, doing whatever he was doing.
Yeah, we don't really get to see him much, do we, before this all happens?
No.
There's more of a focus on his brother.
Yes,
Aemond is his appearance and the way he is, and he's sort of very striking. Whereas the eldest brother, he doesn't rate himself, does he? He feels like he's not worthy. He doesn't want to do it, so he skulks around.
And there's a little bit where he's in the carriage with his mum saying, my dad he didn't really like me. He didn't want me to be king. For all that 20 years, he could have said, I want you to be king. And he never said that,
Yeah.
So he like you say, he was very down on himself a bit, wasn't he, for this? Yeah. He didn't think he was prepared for it or wanted to be the king.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's disappeared somewhere. So Otto gets hold of Eric and his brother, Eric. I think
twins.
It's Eric and
the twins. Yeah.
who are a couple of guards, aren't they? They're a couple of guards and the thing. He sends them out into the streets to go and find him. And then also Alicent, she's keen to find him first. So she sends out Kristen, and he's supported by Aemond, who, as they're searching, sort of explains to Kristen, doesn't he?
He should be the king.
Yeah. My brother's not suited to this. And I if there was a call for me in the night for this, I would receive that call,
He is a better king, it would seem.
Potentially,
as in, we don't know what his attitude would be, but he seems
he's more ambitious for it.
He says he's been preparing to be king. In a sense, But anyway,
absolutely.
I mean, this is a bit of a weird moment because we meet the White Worm, and she's got
Aegon,
and they get word of this, and Otto comes in, and we get this weird sort of moment where I don't quite understand what was going on. I mean, it was a little bit confusing over why the brothers didn't support each other. So Eric and whatever his name is. There was
I think it was like Eric. I think it was Eric and Eric or something. It was
Eric,
something like that.
Eric.
Well, I think one of them wasn't too bothered about the fact that Aegon was going to become king. The other Eric, he really didn't like. He'd seen some of the debauchery and some of the way he'd behaved, and didn't think he was worthy to be a king. So I think that was one of the main. But wouldn't you
defend your brother in a fight like he got himself into?
Yeah, I think you would. I think you would. I think you'd step in and try and help your brother. Definitely. But I maybe he thought he wasn't actually going to get killed or anything. Maybe he just thought he's just going to disarm him, because Kristen didn't kill him, did he? They sort of had a fight. He disarmed him and managed to take Aegon away. Yeah, I thought was quite interesting. You saw a bit of to and fro with Aegon and Aemond, him telling him you're not worthy, but you're going to become king. So that was quite an interesting bit. But they obviously take her back to mother, and she then goes and sees her father, who's kind of trying to get power within his own house, isn't he? Really. And she says, "I've got Aegon now, and I'm in control, and we're not killing Rhaenyra. What we're going to do is we're going to proclaim Aegon king. We're going to have a ceremony tomorrow morning, first thing, coronation. We're going to get everybody there, and we're going to proclaim him as the king." And
in the meantime, Alicent has also spoken to Rhaenyra.
Yes.
Rhaenyra, and she's not really buying it, is she?
No.
She's not believing.
Alicent tries well, doesn't she, to try and bring her around and try and make her see her side of it and how she could benefit from being part of it. But yes, she doesn't really, does she?
No.
And she's left in confinement. But then Eric, who's had a change of heart about his allegiances,
which is what we might have seen a bit earlier on, so maybe the early stages of that.
He obviously takes her away to safety. Well,
he tries.
We think safety, don't we? But they get caught up in all the people are being herded, aren't they?
The public's being herded to the coronation.
Yeah, and they get caught up in it. And I thought that was quite an interesting bit, how you see Aegon changing throughout the whole ceremony. So obviously he comes out, he walks down, and they put the crown on his head, and then I think it was quite good how when he then stands up and the crowd are starting to applaud and starting to chant his name, that he suddenly hello, I might like this. I might quite like this. This might be all right. You see a bit of a change in his personality, don't you? Of him liking this potential, and you're thinking, right, okay, this is setting it up now for what's going to happen with Rhaenyra. But obviously, we see Rhaenyra in the crowd. She's
been bustled into the ceremony, hasn't she?
Yeah,
but she's got other plans. Now that she's in the inner sanctum, if you like, of the temple, wherever it is, she pops down while the ceremony's going on. Underground, and where her dragon is being held captive, because Alicent points this out earlier on when she's speaking to her. And I think this is part of the reason why Rhaenyra doesn't really go for it.
She's got her dragon, and she won't let her have her dragon back.
Exactly. Suddenly, just after he's been made king, there's a massive explosion. Boulders and stones, the floor and dust comes up, doesn't everywhere.
It? All these hundreds of people some probably got quite badly killed, didn't they? Quite a few running for the door, trying to get out, and you see her dragon come up through the floor. And I thought that was really well done, that bit. The dragon looked pretty cool, didn't it? That was a really cool looking dragon. It's
very cool.
More of a typical sort of dragon that you'd expect, And
she doesn't just kill.
She has the opportunity there. She's standing there. All the Hightower and the sons, and they're all standing there on this altar, aren't they?
Yeah.
And she's got this perfect opportunity to end a war before it's even started.
She doesn't do it.
But I wondered if
she just flies off. She can't do it. She's got too good in that by nature, isn't she?
And I wondered why she didn't attack. You saw Alicent step forward, and sort of protect her child, step in front of him. And I wonder if there was a bit of her inside that was kind of like, I'm a mother. I know what it's like. I've lost my children. She's lost all her children, isn't she? Perhaps there was a part of her inside that was sort of saying, I can't kill someone else's children. Do you know what I mean? And feel a bit of compassion or I'm not going to do that. But like you say, she turns around and she's off, isn't she? Off on her dragon.
Flies off, escapes.
Yeah.
And so we're setting it up there. There she's going back, and she'll be on the other side, probably.
Yeah, I think she will go and tell Rhaenyra.
Well, I'm wondering whether Sir Harold Westerling is already well on the way, because we don't see him after he leaves the council.
Well, that's a good point, and I wondered, why didn't they stop him or try and stop him? Kristen Cole was there. He could have stopped him from leaving. That would definitely have been someone. I mean, there was another character, wasn't there? One of the other lords, with the bit when Otto has got all the lords together, and one of them pretends, doesn't he, to bend the knee and become a. But then he tries to leave the castle, doesn't he? And
Larys Strong has been watching and spots his hesitancy.
Yeah,
and
stops him, and you see him strung up later, don't you? In the hallway, sort of hanging in the hallway. But then Larys is in it a little bit. We talked a little bit last time he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
He turns up, bit of a weird foot fetish session with Alicent. Yeah, which was a bit cringy, wasn't it?
It was a little bit weird. Yeah. I mean, look, for whatever people like, but the way they shot it, it was it didn't quite work for me.
No. But
on any
point of his involvement was, he knew, didn't he, about the White Worm, and that she was talking to Otto. She had people in the castle that were loyal to her and feeding her information.
Yeah.
And he was very look, the way to sort this out is to cut the head off the snake. And
we see her house burning, don't we, later?
I can sort that out for you, for a price. Get your feet out and
wiggle those toes for me. I think and then we see then we see her villa is burning later.
Burning. That's right.
So maybe she's dead, maybe she's not.
But you don't see the body.
No.
The rule is, if you don't see the body, then they're probably not dead.
Anything could happen.
They haven't, and I suppose it's only been a day or two, hasn't it, since the last episode? I was thinking they hadn't sort of talked about Corlys, sort of whether he died or whether he's still around. We don't know, do we, at the moment, because it's only the next day.
Yeah,
but
they've got to squeeze a lot into the last episode, it would seem, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't quite know how they're going to do it, whether they're going to carry some of it over to the next season.
I think they must be.
They must carry it over, but
it must be the beginning of a war. Must be the beginning of a war. Because you'd want that to last a period, wouldn't you? You'd want to have good action. You'd want the good parts of that story. I mean, in the Game of Thrones, they did some great battle scenes, didn't they? And they did a lot of good
Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah. Although the tactics were terrible, but I that was a good one. The other one of what was it, Blackwater Bay, the one where you see the dragon oil, getting burnt in the bay, and all the fighting. I thought that was a really good battle in Game of Thrones. So I'm fingers crossed there's going to be some pretty awesome dragon fighting and battles in the next series. I mean, obviously, Rhaenyra is going to find out now, isn't she? Now that Rhaenyra is out there flying back, I'm pretty sure she's going to go and tell her, and that they will be, fireworks.
And it may be that there's a bit of a trap sprung, because the guard are going for them, aren't they? They're on their way because they sent them.
Yes.
So it may be that either she gets there first, or
the guards do,
or Harold Westerling gets there, and he's able to warn them, and then they spring a surprise on the people coming. So who probably don't expect them to know that they're coming. So that's going to be the little conflict that comes next, isn't it? I think that'll largely focus
that would
around
be good.
Episode.
I like that idea.
Out of nowhere and chop someone's head off again. Probably.
Exactly.
It'd be some stuff like that would be good. Some proper.
We need a bit of
knights combat. That sort of
Game of Thrones head chopping.
Medieval combat would be good. So fascinating.
It was very much setting it up, wasn't it? I mean, it needed that episode of them trying to take power, doing the kind of things, putting the plans into place, ready to kill Rhaenyra and her family. I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Definitely. It is weird because that episode in itself, we can talk about it, but I'm still thinking about the episode before it. So
that's
still that my mind.
Well, my mind is thinking about what's to come. My mind thinking about
that as well.
What battles? Can we have some really cool battles, please? That would be brilliant.
Yeah,
something to get this going. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, still really enjoyable. The characters are really good. They're all portrayed really well. It's good. They've got good direction of these episodes, haven't they? They've really sort of made them so well done. We were talking about Andor, weren't we? Where they only had about 10 people in that thing. They'd put a whole, massive church full of
the
people
extras.
and and all that sort of thing. They really go to town on it. So it's I did think sometimes when you panned across the roofs of the city, they looked a little bit too CGI. But I can forgive it. It's such a good show. It's been so well done. Yeah, really enjoyable.
Brilliant.
Anyway, thanks for joining us today. If you'd like to subscribe and like and comments, that would be brilliant. Otherwise, we'll see you again soon.